Let's start with a fascinating paradox. The English language didn't arrive in India as a friendly visitor. It was a tool of empire, right? The language of the rulers. But then, over decades, something really incredible started to happen. Indian writers took this language, and they made it their own. They started to tell their stories, in their voices, using this colonial tongue.
And that quote, it gets right to the heart of it. This idea of decolonizing the mind, it's all about shaking off that old colonial mindset. It's about writers using the colonizer's own language to ask tough questions, to explore what it really means to be Indian, completely on their own terms.
So, how on earth did this happen? How did a language of power become a voice for the people? That's the big question we're going to tackle. We're going to look at 3 totally different ways Indian writers have grabbed English and reshaped it, from weaving ancient traditions into its very sound, to using it as a shield for risky political commentary, to making it the everyday language of a new, modern middle class. Okay, first up, let's get into the nitty-gritty, the craft itself. How do writers actually change the language? Bend it and shape it so it can carry the weight of a completely different culture. Well, there's a word for it: indigenization.
Now, indigenization isn't just about sprinkling in a few local words for flavor. Oh no, it goes way deeper than that. It's about fundamentally rewiring the language, making it sound and feel different, so it can express ideas and experiences it was never built for. It's almost like a rebellion from within the language itself.
Let's take the amazing work of Mamong Dai. She's a poet and novelist from the Adi community in Northeast India. Just listen to the rhythm of these lines. It's simple, stark, but it has this incredible weight to it, right? This isn't just a casual thought, it's a deep philosophical statement, and it comes from a uniquely indigenous point of view. You hear that repetition, life and death, life and death. That's not just a stylistic choice. It's meant to sound like a chant, like an oral tradition passed down through generations. She's taking the basic structure of an English sentence and filling it with the heartbeat of Adi ritual. It's brilliant. And here's another example, this time from her prose. Pay close attention to the verb she's using. In her world, mountains don't just sit there. They walk. Rivers don't just flow. They sing. The whole world is alive. So what she's doing here is she's actually bending English grammar to serve an animist worldview where everything in nature has a spirit. The landscape isn't just a backdrop for the story, it's a living, breathing character. She's using English to translate an entire way of seeing the world, where the land itself holds memory and spirit. Okay, now for a totally different way to do this. The writer Arnab Jandekar, also from the Northeast, sometimes presents both English and his native Assamese right next to each other. This is so clever. The English version shares the beautiful imagery with the whole world, but the Assamese text keeps the original sound, the rhythm, the cultural feel for those who know it. It's like English becomes a partner to the mother tongue, not a replacement. All right, so we've seen how writers can change the very soul of the language. Now let's shift gears and look at the role English plays in a modern, often polarized India. Here, the English language novel has taken on a really urgent new job: to be a witness. Think about it. In a media environment where it can be tough to hear critical voices, and where real human stories often get boiled down to just numbers, fiction creates a space for nuance. It's a place where writers can explore the messy, complicated lives behind the headlines, and show how big political shifts impact actual people. This quote from Devika Reggie's novel Quarter Life just nails it. This isn't the narrator telling you what to think. This is a character in the middle of an argument. The novel becomes this stage where the raw, uncomfortable debates happening all over the country can actually play out, showing how big ideas crash into everyday life. So really, these novels are creating powerful counter-narratives. They're challenging the official story, they're holding on to memories that some might want to forget, and crucially, they're giving a voice to people and experiences that are often pushed to the side. They make the political intensely personal. And here's something that's really important to understand. The choice to write in English can itself be a political move. Why? Well, because its readership is relatively smaller and more urban, writing in English can sometimes offer a bit of a shield. Authors who write similar critiques in regional languages often face much greater risks. Okay, so we've touched on the lyrical and the political. But what about the blockbusters? The books that sell millions of copies? What does English look like when it's speaking to and for a massive audience of young, middle-class Indians? To get this, we kind of have to draw a line between literary fiction and popular fiction. You've got one world using complex, beautiful language to explore big, philosophical ideas for a smaller audience, and then you have another world using simple, direct, conversational English to talk about things like love, jobs, and dreams for a huge, mass-market audience.
And in that second world, nobody has cracked the code quite like Chetan Bhagat. His incredible success really boils down to one thing: accessibility. He uses a straightforward English that feels real and relatable. It breaks down that old wall that made English literature feel intimidating to a lot of people in India.
His novels are basically a mirror held up to modern urban India. They capture all the anxieties and the hopes of a generation that's caught right between tradition and a fast-changing modern world. We're talking about everything from the intense pressure to get a good job to the challenges of falling in love with someone your family might not approve of.
So let's pull all of these different threads together. What we end up with are three very different literary worlds, all existing at the same time in the same country and all using the same language.
And that, right there, is the biggest takeaway. There is no single thing called Indian English literature. It's not a monolith. It's a vibrant, ever-changing spectrum of voices, all using the same tool, the English language, for completely different reasons, from preserving ancient myths to navigating a Tinder date.
So just to recap, you've got Mamong Dai using this lyrical, earthy English to carry an entire indigenous worldview. Then you have Devika Reje staging these fierce ideological debates to reflect a polarized nation. And then there's Chetan Bhagat using simple, everyday English to mirror the dreams of the middle class. 3 authors, 3 approaches, 3 completely different slices of India.
Which brings us to a final, really crucial question. The story of English in India has been all about reinvention, rebellion, and reflection. As the country's own complex story keeps unfolding, the question of who gets to hold the pen, who gets to tell that story and for whom, well, that remains one of the most compelling stories of all.